Hi, in this video, I'm going to share with you Amazon Security Lake, which is one of the latest service that's been announced in AWS reInvent 2022. I personally find this new service really exciting because it helps organizations and security teams to make the data processing much more easier in the security context. So let's get started. Firstly, let's take a look at why we need the security lake at the first place. And again, let's try to look at this from the security team's perspective. Now assume you are the security team's lead. And during the incident response or the other troubleshooting in security context, you might be looking at the native AWS services. For example, AWS CloudTrail, which is a service that are capturing all the API calls that you make against your AWS accounts. Or AWS VPC flow logs, which capture those data traffic that's coming in and out from your VPC network. And also Route 53, capturing the DNS activities, and also the Security Hub, where it provides you the security findings. So with these native service, apart from that, you might be also looking at the other third-party tools and the environment, and such as some of the common tools like Splunk, Datadogs, or even your on-premise environment, because you might be looking at the server logs that's sitting from your database. And you might be having your ETL process, which is the extract, transform, and load process for the data. So you might be transforming the data into the format that you need so you can easily to process or visualize the data so as to make sense to your business. And then in terms of the downstream service, you might be building a dashboard to showcase the security insight to your relevant teams. Or technically, you can even build a automation solution and then to automate the instant response process. Or you can basically come up with the other relevant use cases that you can think of. So again, if we look at the left-hand side, it's a really, have a lot of heterogeneous, data set and data format. It's not only about the data service, how many services that you need to look into, ingest the data and the logs from them, but it's also about how many different data formats that you need to transform and normalize them into a unified single format. For example, the CloudTrail actually, they support the compressed JSON format of the data. And when it comes to the Security Hub, they actually support the ASFF, which is the AWS Security Finding format. So what that means is you might be seeing different data source in the different data format. And so to come up with the insight and process the data, and then to build a data view to your relevant teams to help you to do the instant response, you actually spend a lot of effort and time in data processing. So how to make this part much more easier, how to streamline the process, and also how to offload the burdens from your security team. This is how the AWS Security Lake can come into play. So let's take a quick look at what does the Amazon Security Lake looks like. So with the Security Lake, basically it can ingest all the data sources that, as we just mentioned, it includes VPC flow logs, S3 logs, and Security Hub findings, etc. And then it would consolidate this data into the S3 bucket. And more importantly is that from my point of view, it actually transforms and normalizes the data into the OCSF, which stands for the Open Cybersecurity Schema format. And with this standardized format of the data, it makes the data processing much more easier. And this is one of the key value that provided by the Amazon Security Lake from my point of view. And also from technical perspective, once the data has been stored in the S3 bucket, then you will be able to use the downstream service, for example, Amazon Athena, OpenSearch, or Amazon SageMaker, and then to process the data and then also to visualize the data. And you can also utilize the third-party solutions to utilize those standardized data, right? So it's much more handy. Let's take a look at the demo that we're going to show you. And within our demo, we actually use the organization. And within the organization, we have a management account. So you technically would use a management account to set things up at the first place. And also, Amazon Security Lake allows you to configure a delegated admin account. So once this delegated admin account has been configured, you can use this account to configure the security settings. For example, like who, in what type of conditions, can get access to your data at what level. So you can make the control using this delegated account and then to fully manage the data access within your organization. And also the Security Lake allows you to configure once you have the new accounts created within your organization. Those new accounts logins will be consolidated into your delegated admin account as well. So make the whole process much more easier. Let's take a look at the demo. So now we are in this Amazon AWS account console. And we goes to the Security Lake here. And as you can see, we have 28 sources. Where it comes from? Because we have 7 region has been enabled for this Security Lake. And each region, we have 4 data source. Where are the source? We can find the source here. Basically, we have the CloudTrail, BBC Flow logs, Route 53, and Security Hub findings. So that's why 4 times 7 comes up to 28. That's why we have 28 sources. And by the way, one thing to highlight here is that because the Security Lake is still in the preview stage, so once it becomes GA or general available, we would be expecting it would ingest and support more data source that is going to be in the future. And we also have the subscribers. We don't have the subscribers in this demo, but basically you can use a subscriber to govern the other AWS account that can have access to the data set that you set up within this delegated admin account. And regions, you control what type of regions would support this Amazon Security Lake. And custom sources, as we mentioned before, Amazon Security Lake supports the on-premise data as well as the third-party data as well. So you can use this feature to integrate the other data source outside of AWS. So, as we mentioned, the security data lake will store those relevant data within S3 bucket. So let's switch to this S3 bucket. Let's go to the bucket and let's do a filter here, security data lake, and which gives us like 7 buckets. And these are the bucket that created automatically by the Amazon Security Lake. And as you can see, each region will have its dedicated S3 bucket to store those security data. And if we click into one of that, and you will find the AWS folder. And if you have integrated the other environment into the Security Lake, you will be able to see the other folders show up here as well. So we click into the AWS folder, we will find the CloudTrail, the Security Hub findings, and if we click into the CloudTrail, click into the region, click into the account ID, and then we will find the CloudTrail data actually being organized on the basis of each hours. And if we click into one of the folder here, we will be able to see the data actually has been normalized in the format of the pocket. So this is one of the key value that I found is basically make it quite handy to consolidate and to utilize the data. So this is the data. How does that looks like from the S3 bucket point of view? And if we goes to the Athena, and in this case, assume you will be using Athena to visualize the data. And before you can visualize it, you will try to use the SQL language to query the data. So what we do here is that we will select the default AWS data catalog as the data source. And in the database, we will use choose the database here because now we're in the US East 1 region. We chose this database. And underneath the database, we will see 4 tables actually show up here. So what I would do is that I will do a quick select asterisks from, and I will copy the table name. For example, in this case, will be CloudTrail and limit 10. Let's see how it goes. It normally takes a couple seconds before Athena would provide the result. So now we have the result. Let's take a look at the schema. So as we pointed out, we would limit the search result within the 10 rows. So we will see the metadata and time of the data, which cloud it is. So apparently we use AWS Cloud in this case, and the API calls, etc., etc. So using the Athena, basically it allows us to query the normalize the data that's been stored in the S3 bucket created by Amazon Security Lake in the very efficient fashion. So that's the end of the demo. I hope you find this video useful, and thanks for watching. Bye for now.